Welcome back to this week's episode of the Doggone Truth About Rescue. We have finally wrangled her in. We have Jen Dolsky to kick the season, not the season, the year off with us. We're 6 episodes in already, which is craziness. But Cy and I here with Jen Dolsky, our founder. So Jen, my favorite part about your episodes, I can just hand the mic over.
Can't just say on the mic over because we go through this every time. Where did we leave off on the last podcast?
The
Where do you
last
guys know
one,
where we are?
I think the last one you were on was before the holidays,
Yeah.
For the
and we were
holidays.
recapping the year.
Okay. Well, what I'll tell you is everything changes on the drop of a dime. And I would like to know where that expression comes from because I don't understand it, but I know it. And somebody should look that up. But one day I was having a conversation, I think it was probably close to year end, maybe December 30th. And Michaela and Sammy and I were just chatting in Messenger. And our dogs at our red barn were stressed because if you remember the out or if you remember the layout, I'm very tired, so I was about to say layout, but I started to say outlay. So bear with me. It's 7 o'clock at night. I get up extremely early. Michaela, Sammy, and I were talking, and everything about 2025 was focusing on how do we give our dogs in our care the very best, and our cats, the very best life possible. And for many, many dogs, they can be kennel reactive. They can be nervous of strangers. And so when you have an environment like our little red barn where everything is open and you have kennels set up so where they can see people coming in and out. Now, why do we have kennels when we have an open living style environment? Well, not every dog likes each other. It was originally set up for a senior barn. It will eventually go back there when we have our lighthouses at KCMO. But when we took over and purchased ultimately the Osawatomie Pound, we also became an open intake shelter for the city of Osawatomie, which means we don't have controlled intake of which dogs come in, old, young, sick. So we can't just say, hey, only old dogs at the Red Barn. Why? Because we always have to maximize the use of our space and the numbers. So what we found was we needed more space, hence the opening of our Wichita shelter. And we started to bring the oldies out there. And now what you see at our Red Barn is kind of a mix of ages where they're all very, very social. However, they still can be, reactive in kennels. They still can thrive much more individually in a lighthouse, right? Because it's just decompression piece. So Sammy, Michaela and I were chatting. We're like, well, this one needs a lighthouse. That one needs a lighthouse. Well, we're all out of lighthouses. So what do we do? So I don't know. It's kind of like light bulbs just go off in my head. I don't know ways to explain it. They're not my ideas. They're little seeds that other people have planted along the way. And I almost think that, God, the universe, spirit, whatever you believe in that sense, for me, I do believe it's a God wink. God just says, hey, what worked for our dogs that are super stressed at the Red Barn? Well, it's the suites upstairs, individual private suites. Now, they're not kennels, they're bigger spaces. So how could we carry that downstairs? Because we don't have the ability to put up lighthouses at the Red Barn. And then it just hit me. I'm like, literally, where we have the kennels in our Red Barn, why don't we just build suites there? And they can be 7-foot tall ceilings, and they don't have, our ceilings are 9.5 feet tall. So there's plenty of space. We don't have to worry about air circulation. So it's not gonna be totally quiet. But what does that do? We've learned everything. We take everything that we've learned from our lighthouses and we carry it over here, the FRP on the walls, so they can't jump through it. Literally, Taz ate through one of our walls in his kennel. So it's like the dude wants to get out of his kennel, and we get it because nobody wants to be confined and restrained like that. So honest to goodness, it was the very last week of December. And we just said, let's put suites downstairs. So we have an amazing contractor, Eric, come out, and they're doing it right now. It's going to be done in 5 days. And it's the most beautiful, amazing little thing. Every single door has a window with blinds so that you can control on the inside and out. So if they want a little more quiet time, you just open them, close them. The sun can get in. We're adding more lights to the barn. And again, everything is focused on making today as best as we possibly can to continue to give them an even better tomorrow. So that's one amazing little renovation that popped out of nowhere at the Red Barn. What else is going on? You guys, there's so much going on at every single shelter to share. I'm actually going to be in Wichita tomorrow, and I'm so excited to see them because it's just the oldies. It's amazing, and I'm so proud of the people that have come together to recreate what was once our initial Little Red Barn. So, I mean, it's kind of like stepping back into the past when you walk there, but in such an amazing presence to be surrounded by the oldies. Now, the funny part about old dogs, when you put old dogs that literally look like they're dying at kill shelters, and it's just like the saddest photos everywhere. Sheila, you've seen this. You put them in the little red barn, you surround them with other old dogs, and they turn into puppies. Like it's like little old dogs that look like puppies bouncing around the walls. And so I'm so excited to go there to Wichita. It's just been amazing to watch them blossom into their own. But with Osawatomie, the lighthouses are still going. KCMO, we're going to get our permits in. We should have our lighthouse in KCMO. We are going to put 9 of them up. We should have our permits in hopefully this week or next week. And once we get those permits approved, here's the really cool part about this. Because we're using pre-manufactured sheds, we actually put a down payment on all 9 of them. And we're going to have them built and ready for the second KCMO approves them, because they're not going to change structurally anything that happens to the shed. It's just the permitting process of this. So by mid-March, we should be inside our new location. And I just went there today, and it's 31 acres. It's just the most beautiful, beautiful property. It's so massive. Like it's just massive. I know we have our 40 acres here in Spring Hill, but that's wooded, that's trails. It's hard to take in the true picture. I mean, it's just gorgeous. It's a different feel. But to kind of take a step back and think, holy cow, look what we've done in 8 years. And to see each year the seeds that God keeps planting in us and watching them grow. This year this is the big exciting news that I was going to tell you about, but then I pushed our podcast. 2026, we are going to bring a vet on to Always and Forever in-house. And we are currently working to fundraise for our mobile veterinarian RV. Now, that doesn't take away from our brick and mortar building our St. Francis Homestead Hospital in KCMO. That's still going to happen. So what are we doing? Just like everything else in Always and Forever, we're not waiting. We're not waiting for the millions to come to us. We're not waiting for the construction to happen. We're going to get a mobile vet. It's about $400,000 for a mobile RV. Literally can do everything in it.
I already saw the photos of it.
Mhm.
They just pre-manufacture these, like they're just out there, or did you order?
So here's the thing. You can buy I now know more about mobile RV vets than I ever thought that I would. So
I have a lot of questions.
So I started researching that. There's probably 3 or 4 companies. 2 are probably the top competitors of it. One is LeBoit. That's the one that we're going with. And I can't remember name the other one. Now, the other one has more of a stock RV that's set up so that functionally you purchase it, they drive it all the way from Arizona out here, and then you buy all the medical equipment and have it installed. So it's cheaper that route, but it's a lot more labor intensive, and you need the medical knowledge to be able to do that. I can hang with a good medical conversation when I'm questioning a vet and advocating for an animal, but when it comes to equipment for a vet, good luck. I'm as smart as ChatGPT tells me I am on that one. But when it comes to the one that we've been looking and researching at, typically those units take 6 to 8 months to build. But what happened was, so I called this lady, wonderful woman, told her about who we are, what we want to do. And she's like, yeah, 6 to 8 months. I'm like, I need one in 2 months. And she's like, okay, well, this never happens, but this is the one time I actually have one of our model vet RV units that we take to shows. We've only taken it to 2 shows. This one is for sale. So that's what you saw. The timing works for it. Now we just need to raise the funds. I'm hoping that we raise $50,000 for a down payment, and then I can find somewhere to finance us. Or you know what? There's someone out there that might feel it in their heart to donate the entire amount. It happened with Homesteadies before. Here's the kicker of all of this. Last year we spent $739,000 in veterinary expenses. $739,000. $739,000. $739,000. $739,000. on veterinary expenses that are just poof, gone, outsourced to other vet clinics. And you know what? Every single dime was worth it. We always do believe that because none of our animals would be alive today or cared for or loved to the extent that they are if we didn't. We invest in hope, we invest in miracles, we invest in faith. But that's the exact same thing that we're doing with a mobile veterinarian RV. It's just 400,000 of that, bringing a vet on, and you're talking an investment in not only today, but the future of every single animal, as well as the community too, because it's going to be our always and forever St. Francis outreach veterinarian RV. And we plan to have at least one clinic day a month until we can get started, figure out what we're doing. And 100% of our clinic hours will be donation based. And you know what? And a lot of times when you do that, people are required to prove their income, to prove that they can't afford it. I don't think we need to degrade people in that sense. If you're already coming, you're saying, I need help, help. If you can only give $5, give $5. If you can come and you can volunteer and walk dogs for an hour, or if you can care for cats at PetSmart for an hour, or if you say that you will volunteer at another organization for an hour, that is enough. We take people for their word, and we always believe what you put out comes back to you. So the more good that we are able to do with this, the more good not only the community will receive, but they will give too. So it's such an incredible way to not only help our animals, but help our surrounding community. Osawatomie, Pleasanton, Spring Hill. There's so many people around us that have so many amazing, amazing animals, and their homes that are filled with love. Just can't give their cats and their dogs the medical attention that they need because they can't afford it. And the last thing that we ever want is someone to surrender a pet or an animal because they don't feel like medically they can take care of them. Now, I know everyone's going to say there's a million reasons that you can't sustain this, right? Well, how are you going to fund it? There's going to be way more demand than supply because we'll have one vet, we'll have one RV. And it's you got to start somewhere. You start with one. You open it up, you set time slots. You say, here's what we can do for a day. And then we see what works that day. And if everything fails, then we do it all differently the next time and we try the second day. And we keep going. And we reach out to communities, different community businesses and say, hey, do you want to sponsor our community outreach day? $2,500. First American Bank. I just made that bank up. I don't know if that's an actual bank. I feel like it could be. $2,500. First American Bank. What did they do? They sponsored 50 neuters for the day because that's what, shelter spay and neuters can be done super, super quick and fast if you have the right vet on there. And it's like, it's taking a step back and saying, let's not make shelter medicine the subpar, like the lowest, like the minimum that the law requires. Let's make it exponential. Why? Because it's everyone coming together and saying, yeah, it's impossible maybe for one person, but with all of us, with God, gosh, everything is possible. And let's make it top tier medicine where it's doing the crazy brain surgeries, where it's doing the C-sections for puppies that are stuck, where it's going all in on cats that some people have thrown out of the car and run over. And you truly do look at each individual soul, not as a dollar sign, not as inventory, not as a statistic. It's changing the way shelters are run.
How did this conversation go over with the board?
Oh, this is so funny. Oh, you kid. I love our board. Here's the thing, you guys. They have the most beautiful hearts. And secretly, slash not so secretly, every single one of them are dreamers too. We all are. Every single one of us is inspired to do more, to be more, to change the world. Now, are there reservations? Are there fears? Of course there are. They wouldn't be fulfilling their fiduciary duty if they didn't question me, if they didn't push me, if they didn't say, how are we going to be able to sustain this financially? But so much of what we do is based off the faith that I think I wrote this. I wrote a really long post about the RV in it, and I was listening to an audiobook. I can't remember the name of it, but the thing that jumped out at me, it was bold prayers honor God, something like that. And God honors bold prayers. And that wasn't it. But essentially, if you're going to pray so damn bold that only God can make that prayer come true. But then work as if it's not God that's going to make it come true, as if it's you, but know that it's Him. And all of our all of these endeavors, all of these dreams, all of these God winks that just randomly pop up in my head, they're not my ideas. This is collectively a dream that is beyond any individual one of us. And when the board comes together and I can just talk them through and help them see see the light at the end of the darkness, which is the huge financial commitment of this,
About
they
your
get
quote,
there.
God honors bold prayers because bold prayers honor God.
That was it. Yeah. So I gotta remember that. I remembered it. I'll tell you, Sheila and Sai, it's so funny because every now and then I'll write a Facebook post and I'll be like, I did a thing. And I bought an RV or I bought a
Yeah.
pontoon. And then I'll explain why. Well, I bought the RV for the dogs and then I bought the pontoon so the dogs could go out on it. And every single morning I'm up at, now I'm getting up earlier and earlier. I tend to get up around 3:45, 4-ish. But by the time I drive to the gym after I do all the dogs, the drive time to the gym, 6 to 7, I'm usually listening to a leadership or some type of audiobook podcast. And ideas come into my head at 6 a.m. So what happens is I'll end up getting to the gym. I've got a pre-workout rushing through me. I sit in my car and I write, I have an idea. So I either call the board or I'm writing out this whole thing. And it's just amazing where the creativity comes, and it's all little tidbits of listening to people and, looking at how other rescues do it. I really don't follow any other rescues. I am drawn to visions and ideas of how maybe a for-profit business can help someone in that way. And that's really how Pickle for Paws idea was drawn up. And I'm headed to Wichita tomorrow for that. And it's just, hey, let's take a step back and say, what can we do differently, not only to make our animals' lives better, but to also make the human beings that are giving so much of their life to this phenomenal cause, to this amazing mission, better. And that's just so incredibly important to remember that this is our one life. This is their one life. And every single day we have to make the choice to make the most of it. I don't even remember what your question was. Did I answer it?
I don't
I
either. I'm just sitting here basically church on a Thursday,
no,
Wednesday night. I don't even know what day it is. Just
I'm
listening to
going
you
off
preach,
tangents.
Jen. But I will
No,
say, every single guest we've had on this season, the way that they talk about always and forever, you can tell that that mission truly lives in their heart. And because of the one of the ways you lead and having that mindset at like the top up of the organization. I like it's the message we get every single time. Passionate and the God winks and the mission and the purpose and one life and caring and just treating others how you want to be treated. And that's why these good things keep happening.
I I love that. I mean, we have these Tuesday, Friday calls. I know I've shared this before, but that's like an all hands on team meeting. And I don't know how to express, and I wish I could say it more. And I try to do it on every time I'm on Facebook Live or whatever it is. I'm really just a person who bought a barn. And I really just renovated the barn without everybody else, without every single prayer warrior, without every volunteer, without every person that gives up all of their time, all of their heart, and their funds. This dream isn't a reality. This isn't a person. This isn't an organization. It truly is, in my mind, it's a mission. And this is our legacy that we are leaving behind. And so everything about us now has shifted to where 50 years from now, when nobody remembers our name, what have our souls, how have we left our imprint on this life and the others that have stayed behind? And I might still be alive by then. I am. I'm going to be alive. I did my death clock thing. That was in this audio book too. Okay, this audio book. All right. So here's the lesson behind this. I just shared this the other day with Kathy and Beth. Um, the book basically, it's like, so value the moments, value the days, because ultimately your days are limited, right? It's so easy to take for granted years, or time, and yet you're going to blink it by. All of a sudden I'm 45. I don't know what happened, and now I'm 45. I would never want to go back, though. Let me be very clear about that. But the point of this was, if you need to understand conceptually that your days are limited, go to deathclock.org or something like that, and it will tell you how many days you have left. I put
Please
it all in
hold.
Nuh-uh.
What is it, Jen?
I think it was deathclock.org. Now, it told me I'm going to live to 115, so I feel like I'm
I love
fine.
that for
So
you.
I, so I'm like, all right, I got time. So I did tell the board, I'm like, we got to make this so I can be on this a really long time because I'm not going anywhere. So, but the point of that is still is to know that you're still going to have X amount of days, and every single day you can never repeat, no matter how good, no matter how bad it is. So you might as well find something good in it to be grateful for because once it's gone, it's gone. And I say that all the time. The most precious thing you can ever give is your time. And no matter what form it is, if it's volunteering, if it's praying, if it's love, it's just so, so, so special. So, because money comes and goes. It's energy. It
Hmm.
is what it is. It's always going to come when it's a cause that is worth it. And, you know, always and forever is just so special. It draws the very best people. And if you look at our financials, we get audited in March. We are professionally audited. We have been for the past 4 years, I believe. Our number one investment, and I call them our asset, is our people. We invest in our people. Why? Because it's the people that take care of these dogs and cats as well as each other. And there's such a negative perception of paying people to do that when it's such an honored profession to say, hey, I'm going to come in and I'm going to love all the animals that others threw away. I'm going to give everything in my soul to make them know that even if this is the only family they get, that they matter and that they are worth it. And so that's the mindset that we have. We have a 5-to-1 animal to staff ratio, which means a staff member comes in that they're going to take care of 5 dogs or 5 cats so that they have individual one-on-one attention. Now, I know I said I don't follow other rescues, so I won't name the name, but there's a lot of people who tag this other sanctuary that has like 100 dogs running out together in 50
Mm.
acres. And it's like, guys, would you want your dog that's in your home, if they were in a shelter, to run with a pack of 50 dogs where anything can go wrong? Be very clear too. What you see on social media is a choice, especially the larger organizations that have professional videographers, things like that. That's why you see us every single moment of every single day just jumping on lives, literally just sharing the day because we are who we say we are on and off camera. But back to the quality of life, to us, it matters that dogs and cats have individual human as well as pack socialization too. It's a balance. It's not one or the other. And it truly is trying to give them as much of a home life as possible, even though we know we are confined by our space. We are confined by, they need to be kenneled separately. Okay, well, so if they have to be kenneled, let's build them a suite. Let's take a step back and let's look at this from a different perspective to say, how can we give them the best life possible? And I know I just repeat myself over and over. I say it all the time. I am a broken record, but it's everything that we were built on. This is the foundation of always and forever, and we just keep growing it. So it's amazing to think about where we started and where we see ourselves and who knows where God's going to take us because this is just an incredible ride. And so I think that summed up somebody's question. Was there a question or did I just start talking? Because that's very possible too.
That's what we do on these episodes. We just
Okay.
talk. I
Okay.
do have a question though, following up with all of that. What would a successful 2026 look like for you?
Oh, gosh. To me, if I broke it really down on a staff volunteer perspective, I would say success would mean that we could start 2027 knowing that we went all in, knowing that even if we failed, no matter what it was, we pushed past our fear, knowing that if we approached a challenge, that it would be easier to do the wrong thing or harder to do the right thing. We chose the right thing. Not always the case sometimes. We think we are. I would hope upon reflection that success would be that we always led with love and that we somehow inspired other rescues, followers, donors to know that you don't have to have a rescue background. You don't have to be in rescue. You don't have to know a single thing about what you're doing. You just simply have to have the courage to try. And to me, at this level that I am now at with Always and Forever, my personal goal is to simply inspire people to try to change animal welfare, to try to change one single animal's life, because it can be so overwhelming that you're just paralyzed, right? You're paralyzed that, I can't do this. That's how I was when I was 25. I volunteered one day. I'm like, this is the worst, saddest thing ever. And it was a no-kill shelter in Chicago with like hard, awful bars and everything. And I just took a dog on a walk. They weren't going to kill him. And I brought him back and I was so sad. And I left there so sad. And I never went back. I never volunteered again. And I want to inspire people to know you can volunteer and leave with your heart full. And that all the time, I know I say this all the time, what you put out is going to come back to you. The more that you give, the more God gives you. And to have just this crazy, insane faith, just like with the RV, I don't know how we're going to fund it, but I know to the core of my being, we are going to find a way. Someone out there is going to say, I want to fund that.
I did see on your Facebook post, you can buy a spot to have your
Yes,
animal's face on it. Can you talk about that?
I can. So my RV, if you're not aware, I purchased an RV with my own individual funds in 2021. Now, the backstory of this, it was actually in 2022. The backstory of this is, oh my God, it was 2023. So
I was gonna say, was it really 6 years ago that you bought this?
I don't know. I told you it gets late at night and then I start rambling. Joe's one of the love of my life, Libby, my girl Libby, who I had 14 years, passed away. And she was one of the reasons that I had finally found peace again here. And she passed over Thanksgiving. And this is really truly how the birth of St. Francis Hospital came to life in my mind too. One of the reasons that I want to have this is because the only night in my life that Libby and I were apart and she was at a hospital was the night that she was dying. And they actually kicked me out of her kennel and said I had to go home because visiting hours were over. And you hold on to just such insane hope when you know it's not there, but the little part of your brain is screaming it is. And they said if you get a call in the middle of the night, it means she's dying. And I got the call at 1 a.m. And God, I begged them to let me put her in the car, to let me take her anywhere but there so that she could die in her home. And we didn't even make it. We didn't make it out of there. It would have been cruel to do that. So the one thing I couldn't give her was the passing in my pasture, but it was 3 a.m. by then, so it probably would have been a little goofy. And so to want the St. Francis where you can be with them and you can love them. And a part of what we're doing right now is building a parvo puppy lighthouse so that our parvo puppies can have a sterile, safe place. And we're going to put a recliner in there. You guys, animals want a reason to be reminded to live too. And if they are suffering and they are dying and they don't feel like anybody loves them, they can let go of hope as well. So to have someone with a parvo puppy in a confined like hospital lighthouse with our mobile RV vet, it's just one more way for us to be able to give these animals hope. So going back to that, when I lost her, I couldn't be at my house because I had worked so hard to find peace after Sam had died, and then I lost Muggsy, then I lost Libby. But in that year, I actually lost 5 personal pets. So my whole world was shattered in 2022. And I couldn't find peace here, but I had Josie. God gave me Josie, my little gremlin. And so again, out of nowhere, I was like, I'm going to buy an RV. Like, I don't drive RVs. I don't camp, hate nature, never drove anything big. I mean, I've driven a truck before. Beth thought I was crazy. Megan, Beth, and we went and looked at an RV one day. I looked at this gigantic thing and I was like, I'm going to buy it.
Yours is gigantic.
Oh, bigger than that one. I looked at like a 40-foot one and mine's 28 feet. I looked at that and I'm like, I'm gonna buy this. So I think I refinanced my home or something and I took out cash from that and I went and bought an RV and Josie and I would run away because I knew I wasn't gonna run away forever, but we would run away to a park and then we would run home. But what I did was I wrapped the RV and another God wink too. One day I just realized, why not promote Always and Forever and put every single dog and cat that I have loved on my RV. Now, there were way too many to put on there. But my RV it just makes you smile and it just makes your heart light up. And every time I'm on the road, or sometimes I park in Walmart parking lot and people come and knock on the window and they're like, are there dogs inside? I'm like, yeah, there's four. They're all mine. They're not available for adoption. Sometimes I used to bring the cat for the RV ride too, but it just brings joy into this world. And so back to your question, see, I always do get back to it. Our St. Francis, our St. Francis outreach, Always and Forever mobile vet RV, what you can do is you can sponsor a legacy pet. So for $7,500 to help us fund the RV, you can have your dog or cat on the RV. And we have 20 spots. 3 of them have already been pledged. So we only have 17 spots available. And that all in, that will help us raise about $150,000 if we can get all of them there. So it's just a beautiful way it makes you smile, it makes your heart happy, and then to know the purpose behind what this mobile RV is going to do. It's really, really special. If I had the funds, you guys, it'd be every single one of my dogs on there. And I would selfishly say, nobody else gets a dog or cat. They're all going to be mine again. I don't have that because I just keep giving it. But I'll just have to drive my RV around behind and it's going to be
Pull
red.
the other one behind it.
It is. And so this one's going to be, the base is going to be red and it's just beautiful. So we've got pictures up of the unit that we want to purchase. All in, that exact unit is about $327,000. But then the add-ons that we need to make it cover everything bumps it up to $400,000.
I mean, you could follow with yours, and yours can be the waiting room for while the animals are being taken care of.
I like to drive my dogs in it, so you could just hang out with me and my dogs in it. I don't go anywhere without them. So we're all piling in the car. We're going to Wichita tomorrow. So yeah, we're just our own little pack. Hey, did you see my new family member?
The cat? Yes.
George.
Yes, I want to know about this cat. George,
George is
Okay,
sleeping
tell us
next
about
to the
George and then we're
dogs.
wrapping up. We're already almost at 40 minutes.
I want
Okay,
to
hold
see tell me about George. How did you get George and how did George and Bianca get along?
I know they've been doing slow introductions,
on.
but George was feral and now George does biscuits.
Okay, so shall we discuss? I have 2 cats. One of them is feral. One of them I was told was feral. George is not feral. Bianca still sends people to the hospital. I was not told that Bianca was feral when I got her. And so that's what I was doing, like the goggles on, and I was sharing it on Facebook. Everyone was laughing. I'm like, this cat really is scary, you guys. Like really scary.
Yeah. She's
So,
got mean.
she's cornered did I ever tell you this? She cornered my sister in a bedroom upstairs and just started attacking her. Um, she beat her pants because she bit her like 15 times. It was so bad. She's chased down my cleaning lady that was in here one day, who's so incredibly nice. Like she is some kind of special. And that's Bianca, that's B. George was caught in a raccoon trap and brought to us by the Osawatomie police. So the Oz staff named him George Raccoony. So cute. Gave that last name up. And then literally hated everybody. He was losing his mind. He didn't like to be confined. He's a free spirit. So a foster tried to take him and she had him in a kennel and he tried to kill her multiple times. And so we're like, okay, he's feral. So what will we do? We'll neuter him and then we will release him into the wild. And the wild was our Oz shelter because we set up a little outdoor home for him, like you would do for feral cats. And what we found was he really liked people. He just didn't want to be confined. So he started to walk up to people. And then he started to like the dogs, even the dogs that tried to kill him. So he would walk up to dogs that are actively trying to kill him. And then he would walk up to cars. And we're like, okay, that's it. You're not getting run over here. You're way too social. And I was like, Michaela, scoop him up, bring him to the Red Barn. He can live down by the ponies. And so we moved his house to the ponies, and we're like, he'll just be friends with the minis. And I was like, that's so far away. I would worry about him. So I brought his little house up to my house. I'm like, you can live on my porch. And so I'm sitting outside with him, and the dude just walks up to me and he's just purring on my lap and biscuit making everywhere. And he didn't want to come inside yet. And I'm like, I can't leave this cat outside. This is such a loving cat. And I was going through the inner turmoil of, do I take two cats? I don't know how to introduce the cat to the dog or the cat to the cat. And everybody said he's feral. And it was supposed to be like -10 one night. And I'm like, I can't leave you outside. So I quickly picked him up and I threw him inside into my basement. So I'm like, you're a basement cat now. So he was in the basement for about a week, quiet, purring, fine. And then just decided that he is an upstairs cat, except that him and Bianca absolutely hate each other. We are talking World War III of like cat on cat kill. And like the first time he chases her down and then he loses the fight because she's twice his size. And so, but she's so fat, like she can't outrun him, so he can catch her. So, and then like, oh my gosh, this was such a mess. He chased her upstairs into her bedroom. That was the big mistake. And like there's fur flying everywhere, and I'm running to try to get water. And then by the time that I got in, it had stopped, but he was trapped under the bed. She was on top of the bed trying to kill me because she was so mad at the world. And like her eyes were all black, all dilated. So now we do room and rotate where George is downstairs, Bianca's upstairs, and we just rotate rooms. But George is absolutely best friends with my dogs. Like he's cuddling with them. Every time I bring him in here, he snuggles up, he curls into their arms and makes biscuits into their head. Well, occasionally he slaps their face just to be a jerk, but he's a cat. And they're just the sweetest things. But he does have to wear t-shirts. So I changed his t-shirts because B took a chunk of his back out. So and he licks it. So they both, this is a funny story. I took both of them to the vet, both cats. And I'm like, I was told he's feral. And I'm like, she's really naughty. And so in their notes, they knew that, they had B there before because that I go to. And they're like, well, let's try George. So I open him up and, he comes out of his carrier and he flops on his back, gives him his belly, and like, he's perfect. And they're like, this is the feral one? And I'm like, yeah. And so he got A+. And then Bianca, they're like, well, maybe we'll just take her to the back. And they couldn't touch her. They kept shoving in towels into the carrier to try to get her and force her out. And then I ended up taking home 4 towels and my cat, and she was not fetid. She got an antibiotic shot. But so we've had 3 cat fights in the home. So we're constantly room and rotating it. And my poor dogs, they're just perfect. I love them so much. But I was flirting with the idea of getting another dog so Lena could have someone to play with because she wants to play so much. And she tried to play with George, but George was just not having it. So, but yeah, that's the story of George and Bianca. So hopefully no more World War III until I figure out how to make them be friends, or they can just coexist. They don't have to be friends. They just have to not kill each other. That's
2 ships in the night.
Did I even say anything on this episode that was worthwhile?
You've been talking for 40 minutes.
You did. We need to cover
said
it all.
a lot. You always say a lot, Jen, and in a good way.
You go to church.
Yep.
I don't go to church, you guys.
You do.
You're right. We go to your church,
Oh, okay.
You preach to us, and we take in the message. But we need a cover dog, Jen.
Let's do Romeo because he's just a sweet big old pitty, and I think people overlook him sometimes because he's big, but he's the most gentle, like he literally fits in his name. He's such a lover and he's such a great dog. Maybe like 8 to 10 years old. Came to our red barn, was
Sheila,
safe
picture,
from the
please.
shelter.
Looking it up now.
Take
Romeo.
a picture. He's
Oh,
in a cute sweater. He's a temporary foster right now while our red barn's being renovated. And he's great with dogs, great with kids. He's got such a great little wiggle. I just love him. I love them all. They're all quirky and wonderful.
Romeo it is.
so I just sent you a picture. Look at his big old face.
Oh, you'd love him. You would love him.
Listen, we have been having great success this season with our cover
We
dogs, just
have.
saying.
Love
So,
it.
did Lily get adopted yet?
Not
Now
yet.
that I see the photos and videos of her from Wichita, I'm like, I know Lily.
Lily is wonderful. She has not been adopted yet. She was one of the ones that I was flirting with taking back too. So we'll
Well,
see.
she's a favorite down there from what we've heard
Yes.
and from what I've seen. And then I will set our intention for 2026 for the podcast, same
Yes.
as what we did last year.
We get into existence, sis.
Jen pointed out before we started this episode that at beginning of last year, we were at 25,000 and I said to double it. And we are now at 53,000 episodes downloaded. So this year we have to hit over 100K.
Let's go. We got
Yes.
this.
Okay, so solid goals for 2027. Mobile vet RV, that's going to happen. Have a vet on staff. Our lighthouses will be up at KCMO. I want to start construction on St. Francis Hospital at Homestead East. I want to get that open in 2027. More than anything, to open it up to the community to help even other rescues. There's got to be a way to do that. So that's my goal for 2027 personally too.
Love it. Perfect. And we're going to have more episodes than what we did in 2025.
I mean, we're already off to a bang start. I'll just keep telling
Well,
you. I'm
only
gonna
because
jump on
the
it with
Chiefs
you.
lost and Sheila's not traveling.
I was honestly thinking that on my drive home from work today, and I'm like, we've been able to do so many episodes since we're not in the playoffs.
That's very true. It's been a very
Silver
long time
lining,
on
I
that
guess.
side.
But well, thank you for coming on, Jen. We always appreciate your message and your story and being reminded that our days aren't guaranteed and to not take everything for granted.
Every
So
day
thank
is a
you.
blessing.
Yes.
As always, it's never too late for a happily ever after.